Now coming to the third stanza, moving of the earth brings harms and fears. Men reckon what it did and meant, but trepidation of the spheres, though greater far is innocent. In third stanza, John Donne refers to his knowledge of history and his knowledge of astronomy. For example, at the very beginning, he talks about earthquakes and he says moving of the earth. Now this moving of the earth is metonymy. Now metonymy is a rhetorical device where we substitute a word for the other. Now this phrase moving of the earth is substituted for earthquake. Now when he refers to the earthquake, this image of earthquake is not something that he had created in his mind, but we are told that back then England was suffering with recurrent earthquakes. For example, there was a huge earthquake which struck England in 1580s. Now that earthquake was measured 8 on the Richter scale, and it created a lot of mess in England. Even the cathedrals were infected by it. Many homes were broken. A lot of loss did take place at that time. So people were fearful of earthquakes, and there was another earthquake which also struck England in 1608. Now both these earthquakes and the earthquakes in between that struck England back then was during the lifetime of John Donne, and John Donne had witnessed the fear that people experienced on those occasions. So he says that we must not behave like earthquake, that we would create a lot of noise, a lot of trouble, अपने हम पड़ोसियों को जगा दें अपने रोने से, अपने सारे मोहल्ले में खबर फैल जाए, सारे शहर में खबर फैल जाए, ऐसा हम नहीं करेंगे. But we must behave like trepidation of spheres. Now this trepidation of spheres is an astronomical concept, and it's an obsolete astronomical concept which is not prevalent nowadays at all. But back then when John Donne uses this concept, John Donne says that I am well versed with science also, I know the concepts of astronomy also, so that is why I am giving a reference to that. Now when he is arguing with his wife, he is also showing that I am a well learned man. He gives an example of earthquake, and then he gives an example of astronomy. Now this concept of trepidation refers to the movement in the orientation or axis of the sphere. It was believed back then that it took 72,000 years to complete this one oscillation, and some believe that it took 70 years for a sphere to complete this oscillation on its axis, and some believe it took 25,000 years or somewhat. And this model of trepidation was also incorporated in the theory later given by Copernican, and but later it was rejected by Tycho Brahe. Now coming to the fourth stanza of this poem, dull sublunary lovers love whose soul is sense cannot admit absence, but because it doth remove those things which alimented it. John Donne refers to dull sublunary lovers in this poem. Now dull sublunary lovers is also an important choice of words which would be equivalent to laity in the second verse. Now in laity he talks to the common man, and here he just stoops bit low, uses another low or cheap word for them, dull sublunary lovers. And here he is in a mood of flattery where he raises his status. He says that me and you are not the earthly lovers whose soul is sense, those people who cannot admit absence from one another. The technical devices used in this stanza are parenthesis. Now parenthesis is a technique where words or phrases or a sentence is put in brackets. Now this the purpose of doing this is elaborating an earlier statement. For example, he says dull and sublunary lovers, and after this he puts a total phrase in parenthesis explaining who are the dull and sublunary lovers, and those dull and sublunary lovers are those whose soul is sense, who cannot admit absence. And another thing that he uses in this poem, a rhetorical device he uses in this poem, is polyptoton. Now polyptoton is a technical device where a poet or a writer repeats words taken from the same root word. For example, he repeats the word lovers, love. Now lovers and love are taken from the root word love, but he has repeated them here with a different meaning or in different senses. That technique is called as polyptoton. But we, by a love so much refined that ourselves know not what it is, enter assured of the mind, careless eyes, lips and hands to miss. Stanza 5 is continuation of the stanza 4, where he says what was the love of dull and sublunary lovers and what is our love. He says that our love is more refined, and this refined love of John Donne finds place in many of his poems, like the Canonization, like the Ecstasy, like the Platonic love, like the Relic, where he says that their love is more refined, more different, not very common that we have in we find in most of the places. And he says that it is below his dignity, to express his feeling in the same way as do the laity, as do the sublunary lovers. For example, he says in one of his poems, "Negative love, I never stooped so low as they which on an eye, cheek, lip can prey." I am not a kind of a person who yearns for the physical presence of his beloved, or who, follows like a prey on the cheek and the lips and the eyes and the body of a woman or of a girl. So he is using that argument here to persuade his wife that our love is more refined. Now, if our love is more refined, our reaction must also be very much refined. We must not then react like the laity does, like the dull sublunary lovers do. The rhetorical device that he has employed here is syndeton. Now, syndeton is a rhetoric device where poet generally would omit the use of conjunction, and he uses only one conjunction. For example, if you read this stanza, "Careless eyes, lips and hands to miss." Now, eyes and lips, they are separated by a comma, and then the last phrase, "and hands to miss." Hands is joined by "and," the conjunction "and." And there would be another instance. For example, a poet would say "careless eyes and lips and hands to miss," where he would use more these conjunctions. So that is another way of writing, but here he has used only one conjunction, and that is known as syndeton.